Everyone, so now that we have a little bit of history of animation and kind of understand the basic styles of animation, we're actually going to start to get into animation software. So there's a lot of software that you can use to animate with. You can use popular software, would be like Adobe Animate. Blender is another popular one for 3D. Toon Boom is another popular one. We're using Tahoma2D. The main reason for it is it's free, and I like to use free software, especially for classes that don't specifically meet, in person, or anything, where you don't have access to a lab. It's a good piece of free software. It's not without its bugs, but it's very good, and I like it. I think it's, to be honest, the best free software that's currently out there for doing. Tahoma2D is a 2D animation software. So when you think about the stuff we're going to create, you should think about like Mickey Mouse, Bugs Bunny, Homer Simpson, Peter Griffin, Japanese style anime where it's two-dimensional. It's not going to be like Toy Story where it's three-dimensional or anything like that. Tahoma also has a nice built-in way of doing stop motion, which we'll do a little bit of stop motion later in the semester. Okay. So what I want you guys to do is go to Canvas. I'm assuming you're already there because you're watching this. You can download the files. This is the slides. There's also going to be drills. Okay. So when I give you guys files, normally they're going to be in what's called a zip format. All right. A zip format is what we call a compressed format, meaning that the purpose of it is to make the file generally smaller. It also takes like multiple files and combines them into one file. That's actually why I use zip files, is to take something that has multiple files. In this case, it's a folder that has multiple files, compress it into a single file. Okay. So you would click and download it. That would give you what's called a zip file. Now, in order to work with the files, you have to unzip the files. The best way to think about it is think about it kind of like a suitcase, right? So if I have a suitcase like this, I can open it up and I can like stuff a bunch of stuff in, like papers and whatnot. I can do all this, right? Boom, boom, boom. And I can zip it up as such, right? So when I'm ready to use it, what I need to do is I need to unzip it as a suitcase and take the stuff out. And that's what we need to do in order to work with the files. It's very simple to unzip a zip file. It depends how you do it, depends on your operating system. Okay. If you're working on a Mac, which is currently what I'm using, a Mac OS X, basically all you need to do is double click on it. 1, 2. And that would basically automatically unzip the file as that. If you're working on Windows, it's going to be a little different. Unfortunately, I can't show you because I don't have Windows running on my computer here. But what you would do is you would highlight the file. You would right-click on it. This is going to be different options because I'm not running this on Windows. But there'd be an option that says Send To. And there'd be an option that says Extract All. Okay. What that's going to do is it's going to extract or take the files out of the zip file and give you a full folder. Okay. When you extract it, it's going to ask where do you want to put the files, and you can put them wherever you want. I recommend that you just kind of put them on your desktop, but it's kind of up to you. One thing about people who are running the using the files on a Windows machine, like a laptop or whatever, make sure you unzip them. Technically, unlike a Mac, you can technically work with a file on Windows even if it's still zipped. But the problem is, although you can open a file that is still zipped, you can't save anything or make changes to it. So what sometimes happens is students go, oh, I can't save anything. And the reason why they were having trouble is the files were still technically zipped. Okay, so that's why it's always important to unzip the files before you start to work with them, regardless of what operating system you're on. Okay. Make sure you guys have the software. So we're using Tahoma2D. This is the software. Okay. I chose Tahoma2D, one, because it's free, and two, because it's cross-platform, so it works on all major desktop, laptop operating systems. So it works on Mac, it works on Mac OS X, it works on Windows, works on Linux. If you're using something like a Chromebook, let me know. There's a way to do it, but we have to do an extra step. And what you do is basically go to where it says download. There's a link to it in the canvas. You can choose whatever version you want. I'm assuming most of you will probably choose one of these, and then install it. Okay. I have noticed that sometimes there have been some issues. This is sort of an open source program, so sometimes, there may be some slight problems. If you're having problems, you can email me. You can try downloading an earlier version and see if that helps. So what you might want to do, so this is the current version, Tahoma2D 1.3. You may want to go to an earlier version. I know this isn't necessarily the easiest thing in the world. To be honest, it's probably better if you just literally just type it into Google. You'll probably get something much easier. I'll put a post to it. It must be an earlier version post, but it's the beta version. You don't want that. I'll find the copy of it. It'll be down here somewhere. Just you may have to look for it, which is a pain. But I'll put a link in the. There it is, 2D version or 1.2 version. There's even the 1.1. So you can see there's DMGs for Mac, and this is for Windows. So you can try installing an earlier version if you're having trouble. If that doesn't work, Tahoma2D is actually so the way Tahoma2D as a program is Tahoma was actually built off of a previous program. It was actually used by Studio Ghibli, which is the same people who did, they did My Totoro and Spirited Away. So it's actually based on it was based on another piece of software called OpenToonz, which was another animation program that was basically, it existed, and then they basically just kind of made a free version of it, and that's what Tahoma2D is based on. Tahoma2D is kind of meant to be the more user-friendly version of the program OpenToonz. Okay. So, there's been a couple of studios that have used, not Tahoma2D, but a more souped-up version of it. Like I said, Studio Ghibli and Rough Draft Studios, which did Futurama, has used it. If you're having trouble, what you can do is you can actually use the original program, OpenToonz. I recommend using Tahoma2D if you can install it, because it's a little more user-friendly, in my opinion. But if you're just really having trouble, you can try installing OpenToonz, okay? The way down here, this is where you would install it. So you can install it for Windows and install it for Mac. Okay. So if you're having trouble, either one of those should work. Let me know. I would try using Tahoma just so that the interface is kind of the same. It has the same features, but the interface is a little bit different. Okay. In the next video, we're going to get into loading Tahoma2D and, or not loading, but opening up Tahoma, setting up a project, and going through the user interface.